Elon Musk entered the talk show. But by the conclusion, it was the host who found themselves in the spotlight. The email arrived just like the rest, featuring a straightforward subject line, an invitation to the Brian Palmer Show. At first, Elon Musk hardly took notice of it. He received these frequently, invitations from talk shows, news programs, and tech panels. Most of them, he graciously declined. However, Brian Palmer stood out from the rest. Palmer's show truly stood out as one of the most significant productions on television. Renowned for its unique mix of wit, provocative topics, and incisive discussions, it garnered a substantial audience. Viewers were drawn in not only by the guests but also by Palmer's unique approach. As he pushed boundaries, challenged ideas, and occasionally left his interviewees feeling quite exposed. Musk paused for a moment. The request has already been thoroughly vetted by his PR team. What a wonderful opportunity, his assistant mentioned. Palmer connects with millions. Musk had no concerns about exposure, rather, he was intrigued. He was well aware of Palmer's reputation, how he had a knack for transforming an interview into a grand performance, how he relished in creating an atmosphere of discomfort for his guests. However, Musk has always embraced challenges head-on. Go ahead and set it up, he finally said. The day had finally come, and Musk was in a stunning, glass-walled studio in Los Angeles, ready to embrace the moment. The green room exuded a serene ambiance, softly resonating with the gentle murmur of conversations from afar. A production assistant graciously offered him a bottled water before quietly slipping away. He glanced at his watch. We're just about to kick off the interview in 10 minutes. Over in the corner, a sizable screen showcased memorable moments from Palmer's previous interviews. Musk observed the dynamic display of political leaders, Hollywood actors, and CEOs as their clips illuminated the screen. There were a few chuckles of nervousness, while others engaged in spirited debate. Others remained expressionless as Palmer played with them like a feline with its prey. Musk offered a subtle smile. He was well aware of what lay ahead. He had experienced a sufficient number of interviews to identify the recurring theme. Entice, stimulate, and observe the response. The true inquiry was, to what extent would Palmer go? A stagehand made their entrance at the door. Just 5 minutes, Mr. Musk. He stood, making sure the sleeves of his black jacket were perfectly adjusted, with the calm of someone who has navigated through rockets bursting in the sky, factories collapsing, and economic crises. He confidently made his way to the stage. The studio was bustling with activity. A sea of eager faces filled the seats, all waiting in anticipation. We had a mix of die-hard fans, some skeptics, and a few who might have just been there for the drama. The set featured a contemporary design, showcasing a circular stage encircled by vibrant LED panels. At the heart of the room, a spacious desk was positioned, accompanied by 2 chairs, one designated for Palmer and the other for Musk. The presenter was already there, flipping through a stack of cue cards. Brian Palmer glanced up with a broad, rehearsed smile as Musk drew near. Elon, he said, rising to greet him with a handshake. We're so pleased to have you here. Musk offered a strong handshake. Absolutely. As the audience quieted, they settled into their seats. As the theme music filled the air, the cameras began to roll, and the stage lights gently dimmed, highlighting just the 2 men in the spotlight. Palmer faced the camera, showcasing his iconic smirk. Esteemed guests, it is my pleasure to introduce a remarkable individual joining us this evening. The visionary driving Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and numerous other companies that might be a mouthful to say. Introducing the one and only, Elon Musk. The crowd erupted in applause, with some cheering enthusiastically while others exchanged whispers of excitement. Palmer leaned in, resting his elbows on the desk. So, Elon, he began, his voice flowing effortlessly. Welcome, everyone. Let's dive right in. Many refer to you as a genius, a true visionary. Many believe you are making a significant impact on the world. Some people may view you as a bit eccentric. He let out a light laugh, eagerly anticipating a response. Could you please clarify which one it is? Musk offered a subtle smile. It seems that only time will reveal the outcome. Palmer inclined his head. That sounds reasonable. Now, How about we dive into something a bit more captivating than mere history? Shall we? His tone carried a playful edge, both lighthearted and incisive. The audience felt it in the air. This was not going to be a casual conversation. But Musk had anticipated that. Palmer relaxed in his chair, casually twirling a pen between his fingers. Elon, you've created rockets, electric vehicles, and even ventured into implanting chips in monkey brains, he remarked with a playful grin. Some might suggest that you're taking on a divine role. How do you feel about that? Musk let out a light laugh. If I were in charge, I would certainly ensure that my rockets stayed intact and didn't meet an explosive fate. The audience chuckled, yet Palmer had more to share. Absolutely, but let's be honest, he really pushed. You've amassed wealth that surpasses that of entire nations, and individuals revere you as if you were a divine figure. Have you ever found yourself waking up and pondering whether it might be wise to take a step back before you become the next iconic villain? The audience shared another lighthearted laugh. However, there was an intriguing quality to Palmer's delivery. It seems there's a bit of sharpness to it. He was serious. Well, that's not quite the case. Musk nodded thoughtfully, weighing his words carefully. If I were to take on the role of a Bond villain, I would certainly have a secret lair established by this point. Regrettably, I find myself residing in a $50 house in Texas. That brought out some chuckles. But Palmer was determined to hold on tight. He casually flipped through his cue cards, feigning a search for something intriguing. Ah, indeed, he remarked, giving one a gentle tap. Oh, regarding that house, I heard you recently let go of a significant portion of the janitorial staff at X? Musk maintained a steady expression. Indeed, we needed to implement a few changes. Adjustments, Palmer reiterated, his smile becoming more pronounced. That's a fascinating perspective on the situation, especially considering the timing right before the holidays. The crowd whispered softly among themselves. There was a noticeable change in the atmosphere of the room. Musk was accustomed to challenging inquiries, yet this one felt distinct. Palmer wasn't inquiring. He certainly knew how to stir the pot. I take it you're referring to the San Francisco office? Musk inquired, his tone steady. That's the one, Palmer remarked, leaning in with interest. It has been reported that there were tears among the crowd. Elon, feeling emotional, you've accumulated a vast fortune. Was that truly essential? Musk let out a soft breath. It's important to recognize that leading a company involves more than just ensuring everyone's satisfaction. It's all about maintaining the vitality. X was experiencing a daily loss of $4 million. Palmer gave a casual shrug. It must be quite a challenge to navigate the life of a billionaire while juggling all those sacrifices. The crowd responded with a tentative chuckle. There were a few rounds of applause. Some chose to remain silent. Musk remained unfazed. Running a company can be quite challenging. There is a distinction. Palmer tilted his head, recognizing a moment of opportunity. He waved his hand toward the audience. Did you catch that, everyone? It's quite a challenge to be the individual who possesses private jets and launches cars into space. Let's share a few more laughs together. Just a few more whispers. Musk allowed the moment to linger. Then he leaned forward just a bit. Are you interested in having an authentic conversation, Bryant, or is this just a performance for you? The atmosphere in the room became palpable. The room fell into a hushed stillness. Even Palmer was taken aback. Just for a moment, he bounced back swiftly, showcasing his trademark smirk. Oh, I'm thrilled to engage in a delightful conversation. Elon, however, I have a deep appreciation for the truth as well. Some might describe your choices as unpredictable, suggesting that you tend to act without caution. It seems that the platform has taken quite a turn under your guidance. Musk arched an eyebrow. How amusing. Before my leadership, it was facing significant losses. But now it's thriving and generating profits. That doesn't seem chaotic at all. Palmer flashed a sly grin. Absolutely. Now, let's dive into a topic that truly captures everyone's interest. He addressed the audience. Are there any Tesla owners among us today? Several hands were raised. Palmer beamed with delight. Wonderful. Do you all have confidence in the self-driving feature? Let's give a round of applause. Some reservations. Fascinating, Palmer remarked, redirecting his attention to Musk. It seems that not everyone does. There have been crashes, lawsuits, and tragic losses. Yet you continue to promote it as if it's the way forward. Have you ever experienced a sense of responsibility when things don't go as planned? Musk's fingers danced gently on the desk. Well, Bryant, it's quite interesting to note that we could discuss any car manufacturer and uncover instances of accidents. However, it seems that no one has inquired whether Ford's CEO feels a sense of accountability when an individual has an accident in a Mustang. Palmer let out a hearty laugh. Absolutely, absolutely. However, Ford isn't making any commitments to full self-driving capabilities. Welcome, you are indeed. Musk beamed with a smile. Not at this moment, and we certainly aren't either. That's the reason we're currently in beta. Palmer let out a dramatic sigh. All right, let's keep the momentum going. Welcome to the fascinating world of Neuralink. Welcome to the fascinating world of brain chips. What occurs when hackers gain access? Or when the government decides to, perhaps, transform people into robots? A handful of attendees chuckled uneasily. Musk paused for a moment before responding. You really watch too many movies. Bryant. The crowd erupted in laughter once more. Yet Palmer remained undeterred. However, Musk had more in store as well. Palmer tapped his cue cards on the desk, a confident smirk spreading across his face. He was truly reveling in the moment now. Come on, Elon. Surely you recognize the risks involved. It seems you have some ambitious ideas about enhancing human capabilities, revolutionizing transportation, and managing global communication systems. When do we begin to refer to it by its true name? Welcome to a discussion on power. Musk tilted his head slightly, a mysterious expression on his face. Do you believe I'm attempting to exert control over others? Palmer extended his arms wide. It's fascinating to consider how a single individual can wield such influence across social media, transportation, space travel, artificial intelligence, and even the human brain. Absolutely, it certainly brings up some intriguing questions. The crowd whispered among themselves. A few heads nodded in agreement. Some had their doubts. Musk allowed the moment to linger. He expressed that it's important for people to ask questions. I believe that having a skeptical mindset is beneficial. However, the notion that I'm tucked away in some secret hideout, gleefully plotting, is quite amusing. Palmer let out a lighthearted chuckle. Ah, I see you've chosen quite an intriguing name for one of your AI projects, Ex Machina. How fascinating. That certainly has a foreboding vibe to it. Musk offered a subtle smile. You're almost there, it's actually 11. Palmer dismissed it with a wave. All right, now, let's dive into a topic that deserves our full attention. He addressed the audience. Please raise your hand. It seems that some of you are familiar with the lawsuit against Tesla regarding racial discrimination. As I see a few hands raised, some remained motionless. Musk's jaw remained relaxed. His expression remained unchanged, yet there was a noticeable shift in his eyes. Palmer moved ahead with determination. Reports have emerged from employees at Elon, indicating that they have faced slurs, discrimination, and unsafe work environments. That's taking place within your organization. I'm curious to know, how does the individual aiming to lead humanity to Mars allow this situation to unfold right here on our planet? A gentle buzz of conversation flowed among the audience. Several individuals leaned in closer. Some guests settled in, observing intently. Musk's voice maintained a calm and steady tone as he responded. This is a topic that impacts every significant corporation across the United States. When we encountered issues, we promptly took action. Palmer let out a dismissive laugh. Absolutely. So, you're suggesting it's the same routine as always? Musk released a gentle breath. What I'm expressing is that this isn't exclusive to Tesla, and it's certainly not something we overlook. However, if we're diving into the topic of lawsuits, let's shine a light on your network. Palmer blinked in surprise. Just for a moment, may I have your attention, please? Musk leaned in a bit. You're part of a network that is facing legal action for disseminating misleading information. As you take a seat in that chair, you boldly call out corporate greed. Yet your program features advertisements from pharmaceutical giants, multi-billion-dollar banks, and defense contractors. Welcome, everyone. The crowd stirred with excitement. The dynamic had shifted, and it was no longer the typical exchange. Palmer let out a laugh, though it felt somewhat lighter this time. Great attempt, but I'm not the right person for that. Musk interrupted him. It seems you're not the one orchestrating those billion-dollar deals in the shadows. You're not the one following directives from executives who determine which stories make it to the screen. It's not you who's benefiting from the divide. Welcome to a moment of stillness. Palmer opened his mouth, but there was a moment of silence before he found his words. Musk carried on, maintaining a serene tone. Are you ready to discuss power? Now, let's dive into your story. It's quite the performance you're putting on, acting as if you're the champion of the people, all while your salary is funded by the very corporations you profess to criticize. And the moment you applied too much pressure in the wrong way, your position is at risk. It seemed the audience was at a loss for words. Some applauded, while others simply gazed. Palmer let out a light laugh. Oh, so you're turning the tables on me now? Musk simply shrugged. I was under the impression that you appreciated honesty. For the first time that night, Palmer found himself momentarily speechless. He fumbled with his cue cards, attempting to regain his composure. But an undeniable change was in the air. Musk leaned back, observing him, but the moment was far from finished. Palmer adjusted himself in his chair, clearing his throat with a subtle gesture. He found himself in unfamiliar territory, not accustomed to taking a defensive stance. The command he typically exercised with such ease was beginning to fade. And the crowd sensed it. Yet he was determined not to allow Musk to dominate his presentation. All right, he said, managing a smile. You made your point, but let's be honest, Elon. There's something captivating about embracing the role of the underdog, the misunderstood genius, or the rogue billionaire challenging the status quo. He leaned in, softening his tone to create an air of intrigue. Isn't that simply a matter of branding? A man with nearly $200 billion certainly has a unique perspective on the system. Welcome, you are the system. Musk inclined his head just a bit. Could it be that I am? Absolutely, Palmer responded. Welcome, esteemed guest. You hold the title of the richest man in the world. Acquire companies that get under your skin. While you may find humor in the concept of free speech, the reality is that you manage X as if it were your own private playground. You have the power to choose who shares their voice, who remains present, and who is muted. Musk maintained his composure, yet the atmosphere in the room had shifted noticeably. The atmosphere had transformed, denser now, brimming with an unexpressed tension. Palmer still had more to offer. And let's not overlook, he continued, turning to another cue card. You're connected with some fascinating individuals, people who hold significant sway. It's you alongside Peter Thiel. You with Saudi investors. You with... Musk interrupted him. Hey Bryant, how about sharing some stories about your friends? The words were soft, lacking in edge, yet they struck with undeniable force. Palmer blinked, momentarily taken aback. May I have your attention, please? Musk spoke with a calm and assured tone. The individuals who support your program. The decision-makers who determine the boundaries of your discourse. The financial backers who ensure you maintain a balanced approach. The crowd began to shift restlessly. Palmer let out a light laugh. Oh, so now we're diving into the realm of conspiracy. Are we? All right, Elon, let's do this. There's no conspiracy here, it's simply the reality. As Musk stated, do you really believe I hold any power? Absolutely, you have a point there. However, when I make a decision, there's clarity about its origin. Are you able to express the same sentiment? Palmer parted his lips, then sealed them again. Musk continued on his path. I create and construct various projects. Individuals observe them. It's either a success or it isn't. If I stumble, everyone will notice. And what about you? He waved his hand, inviting everyone to take in the surroundings of the set. Welcome. It seems you find yourself in a position where you appear to confront the influential, all the while observing and learning from them behind the scenes. Palmer's face displayed a subtle twitch. Just for a moment, the crowd had fallen silent. Several of them were nodding in agreement. A handful of applause echoed in the room. Palmer sensed the grip loosening. He needed to retrieve it. He quickly pointed out that you're avoiding the question. This is not focused on my perspective. It's all about you. Some individuals suggest that your behavior is unpredictable, that you promote risky concepts, and that your team feels apprehensive around you. Have you considered the impact of your actions? Musk leaned in closer. Just a tad. Do you really? Welcome to a moment of stillness. Palmer began to speak once more. Yet Musk continued without interruption. It seems your profession revolves around igniting strong emotions, he remarked with a sense of composure. It seems that addressing challenges isn't your forte. It seems there's no construction happening here. Please, go ahead and share your thoughts. And when the cameras cease to capture the moment, when the debates fade away, what have you truly accomplished? Palmer adjusted himself in his seat. Musk continued on his path. He acknowledged it, saying, I understand. Your role is to provoke strong emotions, to captivate the audience, and to ensure the revenue keeps coming in. However, it's important to distinguish that from truly creating an impact. The audience truly resonated with that one. A handful of individuals offered their applause. Some remained motionless, observing intently. Palmer ran a hand through his hair, chuckling softly. Well, everyone, he said, it seems we've just witnessed an impressive demonstration of deflection skills. Musk offered a smile, perhaps with a touch of sincerity. Let's hear more applause. Palmer cast a quick look at the producers waiting off stage. They were observing intently. The interview had slipped from his grasp, and Musk was acutely aware of it. However, the true response was yet to unfold. Palmer adjusted his tie, maintaining a cheerful expression, though he sensed a change in the atmosphere. The assurance he entered with, the mastery he so seamlessly held over his visitors, was beginning to fade away. He found himself in unfamiliar territory. He was not accustomed to defeat. The crowd had fallen silent. Several guests leaned in, their eyes fixed with keen interest. As the atmosphere thickened, a wave of uncertainty swept over the crowd, each person casting furtive looks at one another, trying to grasp the unfolding scene. This was more than just another late-night interview. It was truly remarkable, something genuine. Palmer took another look at his cue cards. Though the words hardly registered in his mind, he had to make a change here. Quick. So, Elon, he remarked, bringing his voice back to its familiar cadence. Welcome. It's wonderful to have you here to discuss innovation and explore what the future holds. Shall we wrap things up with a cheerful conclusion? He made sweeping gestures. What do we have lined up next? What's the upcoming groundbreaking project from Musk that aims to benefit humanity? It seemed like a feeble effort to take back the reins. Musk witnessed it. The audience witnessed it. However, Musk reclined a bit, pondering the inquiry. There are many things happening, he remarked at last. Exploring the frontiers of artificial intelligence, embarking on journeys through space, and embracing sustainable energy solutions. However, I believe the most significant challenge lies beyond technology. It's all about trust. Palmer arched an eyebrow. Confidence? Musk gave a nod. It seems that there is a growing sense of distrust towards institutions these days. There's a noticeable lack of trust in governments, the media, and corporations, and often, there's a solid reason behind it. A soft buzz filled the air among the attendees. Palmer let out a brief, controlled laugh. So, you believe you hold the answer? Musk gave a slight shake of his head. No, but I believe that honesty is essential. It seems that many individuals have grown weary of being influenced in ways that don't feel genuine. Palmer let out a dismissive laugh. Well, let's consider that for a moment. So, are you suggesting that I'm the issue here? Musk inclined his head just a bit. It seems that your role aligns with an industry that thrives on fostering division, outrage, and distraction among people. You've inquired whether I feel a sense of responsibility for my creations. Are you ready? Palmer blinked, taking in the moment. For just a brief moment, he found himself without a response. The silence lingered, dense and palpable. At that moment, a member of the audience broke into applause. Next, we have another one, and another one, please. Palmer's jaw tightened just a bit, yet he managed to mask it with another strained smile. Well, he said, adjusting himself in his seat. What a fascinating discussion we've had. Musk gave a nod. I would agree with that. The studio lights shone brightly. The cameras continued to capture every moment. Palmer moistened his lips, then compelled himself to proceed. All right, everyone, he said, turning back to the audience. Let's hear it for Elon Musk. The room was alive with a blend of applause and soft murmurs. Musk stood up, shook Palmer's hand, and walked off stage, leaving the presenter sitting there, still trying to process what had just happened. But the true tempest was just starting to unfold. As soon as the cameras ceased their activity, the atmosphere in the studio remained charged. It has thickened. The typical post-show conversation was subdued, with the familiar hustle of producers, assistants, and camera operators unfolding in an unusual hush. Palmer dramatically removed his earpiece and flung it onto the desk. His face wore a strained smile, yet his eyes flickered anxiously toward his producer. What on earth was that? He whispered softly to himself. The producer has not responded. He seemed quite engrossed in his phone. Well, that was the case for half the studio. It took no more than 5 minutes. Although the interview hadn't officially gone live, a member of the audience had already taken the initiative to record it. Clips were already making their way across social media platforms. X was absolutely buzzing. The headline came together effortlessly. Elon Musk takes the spotlight, challenging Brian Palmer and highlighting media double standards during a live broadcast. Musk had just taken a step backstage when his phone buzzed with a notification. He took a moment to check it. His mentions were on the rise like never before. A single clip, shared by an account boasting a few thousand followers, has already garnered hundreds of thousands of views. We had an overwhelming response with comments coming in from all directions. Elon just dismantled Palmer with the precision of an engineer evaluating a flawed prototype. This was not an interview. It was a decisive conclusion. Palmer found himself unprepared for this moment. Not at all. And then we had the think pieces. The debates. The analysis. Many praised Musk's response as brilliant. Some referred to it as arrogance. Some suggested that Palmer had inadvertently stepped into his own snare, while others contended that Musk had sidestepped genuine responsibility by turning the narrative around. Regardless of the circumstances, there was one thing that could not be disputed. It seems that Palmer's questions didn't spark much conversation. There was a discussion surrounding Musk's responses. Palmer burst into his dressing room, forcefully shutting the door behind him. His producer stepped in, choosing words with great care. All right, everyone. Let's gather around and prepare ourselves for how this is going to unfold. Palmer chuckled lightly, pouring himself a drink. I can already envision how this will unfold. This is sure to be a hit online. Supporters of Musk are going to behave as if he performed miracles. And I'll find myself as the journalist who got outsmarted. He gently shook his head. It seems that the gentleman skillfully avoided addressing any of the questions posed. The producer paused for a moment. Oh, did he really now? Palmer's jaw clenched with determination. The producer let out a deep sigh. The reality is, Bryant, individuals tend to dislike the sensation of being manipulated. And this evening, it seemed as though you were orchestrating things a bit. Palmer's grip on his glass became more pronounced. The producer took another look at his phone. It's important for us to take proactive steps on this matter. Palmer let out a sharp breath. Oh, is that so? What are your thoughts on this? Let's address the situation at hand. Palmer chuckled with a hint of bitterness. Are you asking me to say I'm sorry? Unfortunately, that's not going to work out. The producer gently shook his head. That's not an apology. Let's take a moment to look at this from a different perspective. We give it a whirl. It seems Musk was redirecting the conversation. It seems he struggled with genuine examination. He demonstrated that he is just as sensitive as those he critiques. Palmer squinted thoughtfully, weighing his options. Just as he was about to respond, a knock echoed from the door. An assistant peeked in. She appeared a bit anxious. Bryant, she said with a measured tone. We have an invitation for a meeting from the network. At this moment, Musk made his exit from both the studio and Tesla. The driver cast a quick look at him via the rearview mirror. Exciting evening ahead? Musk flashed a sly grin. Perhaps something along those lines. His phone buzzed once more. A note from one of his trusted advisors. That was absolutely wild. Wow, your engagement numbers have skyrocketed. Musk perused his feed, observing the story develop in real time. Each response, each and every breakdown, every bold opinion. He could already anticipate what was about to unfold. Tomorrow, Palmer's team will make an effort to salvage this. He would be referred to as a billionaire who portrays himself as a victim. A true expert in the art of evasion. A master of media influence. They would twist it in every possible direction. However, That wouldn't make a difference. Because this evening, before a vast audience, the facade had shattered. Once individuals notice the imperfections, their curiosity only deepens, leading them to seek out even more. By morning, the interview had transformed into something beyond a mere viral clip. What a moment it was! News outlets eagerly rushed to cover the event, each presenting their unique take on the situation. Many regarded Musk's response as a remarkable display of composure. Some portrayed Palmer as a journalist who was taken by surprise by his own methods. The discussion extended beyond the words that were spoken. It was all about the significance behind it. On one side, individuals viewed Musk as a game changer, a person who chose to stand firm against the expectations set by the media. A billionaire, indeed, but one who communicated with clarity. Someone who boldly addressed hypocrisy. On the flip side, some critics contended that Musk had evaded genuine accountability. He skillfully steered the discussion while avoiding any accountability for the ethical issues surrounding his companies. However, beneath the debates, the fiery opinions, and the analytical essays, there was a more profound occurrence taking place. There were inquiries and discussions happening among the people. There were inquiries about the process of conducting interviews, the shaping of narratives, how media figures such as Palmer flourished by prioritizing spectacle over truth. And that's where the true transformation took place. When an audience begins to question why something feels amiss, why a journalist appears more focused on a sensational moment rather than a genuine conversation, or why specific companies or industries evade the same level of scrutiny. That inquiry is just the beginning. It's a journey that continues to unfold. Now, let's talk about the media. It really dislikes when individuals begin to adopt that mindset. The atmosphere at the network during the meeting was quite charged. Palmer sat across from the executives, arms elegantly crossed, exuding an air of confidence. He had visited this place previously, following some contentious interviews, but on this occasion, it felt distinct. A woman in a navy suit, one of the higher-ups, placed her phone down on the table. The numbers are absolutely soaring, she confessed. What an incredible level of engagement we've experienced this year. Palmer put on a smile. Take a look. It's my pleasure to have you here. Another executive let out a weary sigh. Well, Bryant, it seems things aren't quite going in our favor at the moment. Palmer let out a dismissive laugh. Oh, let's be real. It's just a news cycle. It should settle down in just a few days. The woman in navy gently shook her head. This is much more significant than that. The feedback, the responses. There's more to the conversation than just Musk. It seems there's some chatter about us. Let's dive into the industry. Let's discuss our approach to conducting interviews. Let's discuss the real question at hand. Are we genuinely holding influential individuals accountable? Or are we merely acting out a part? Palmer let out a dramatic sigh. They might not remember. Indeed, they consistently follow through. And now, we find ourselves in a moment of stillness. One of the executives shared a knowing glance with a colleague. Perhaps, he remarked at last, or perhaps this time, they might not. In a serene office setting, Musk enjoyed a cup of coffee while perusing the latest headlines from across the nation. The team has successfully compiled the data. We're seeing some exciting engagement spikes. Responses from the media. Welcome to the world of sentiment tracking. He seemed to overlook it entirely. He casually scrolled through a straightforward post that someone had shared on X the previous night. It didn't come from a journalist. It didn't come from a political commentator. It was simply an ordinary individual, a viewer who caught the interview and encapsulated it in just one sentence. The most frightening aspect of last night wasn't the words spoken by Musk. It became clear just how much the media seeks to shape the narrative. Musk offered a subtle smile as he placed his phone aside. He understood that this moment was fleeting. However, it wasn't necessary for that to happen. It only required a single crack in the facade. A moment when everyone witnessed the strings being pulled. Once you catch a glimpse of the strings, your perspective on the puppet show transforms forever. The true takeaway from this situation wasn't centered around Elon Musk or Brian Palmer. The focus wasn't on the outcome of the interview, whether it was a win or a loss. It was all about how we see things. Individuals such as Palmer have crafted their careers around the art of narrative control. They influenced public perception, determined what deserved attention, and guided conversations in manners that served their sector. For the first time in quite a while, the audience truly perceived what was happening. And that's the aspect that really counted. In a world overflowing with information, true power is not held by those who shout the loudest. It is for those who embrace the art of listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Could this be merely another fleeting viral sensation? Or is there something more significant at play here? We'd love to hear from you. Please share your thoughts in the comments. Give that like button a tap. And if you haven't joined our community yet, consider subscribing for more exciting content. Welcome, everyone. It's exciting to think that the conversations that truly matter are just beginning. Let's dive in.